Now, welcome our incredible speakers. I call them the dynamic duo. So, speaking with us first is we have the doctor of the mind, Dr. Georgia Smith, and beside her is her gorgeous sister, Miss Jessica Smith. She is a doula as they speak to us about what happens in the mind of women in secular dating and courtship. So, my dynamic duo, the floor is yours. Unmute. You guys are muted.
Okay. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, everyone, for having us. I am Georgia.
And I'm Jessica.
Okay, so today we are going to talk to you about the mindset of two different women. And the first woman is we're going to look at the women that are in the earth realm to start versus the women that are in the heavenly realm. So that introduces two different mindsets of two different women. As we know, in the earth realm, things can be instant gratification. What can happen in the flesh right away? How can we get what we want right now? And versus the heavenly realm is on God's timing. It is the principle of waiting. It's the principle of learning and preparing oneself to be studious and be able to present yourself as the woman that God has for you. So today we are going to speak on those two different women when it comes to the area of secular dating and how women even end up in this place from the time they start off. So the first thing that we want to look at is how it all begins in the mind. When you look at women and the things that are going on in this earth today, we look at what happens in the mind first. So society is what can impact a woman's mind. If she does not have the mind of God, and we're starting with the woman again who does not have the mind of God first, the secular woman. So if she does not have the mind of God, she's already in the earth realm, which means she's distorted by what she sees. She might see things that are on Instagram, and she might see things that are on Facebook. She might see things that are on the TV or Tinder or dating sites that speak to her. So as a woman is getting older and older, what happens in the mind is its natural thought process that God has designed for women is that women are supposed to start rearing a household, homemaking, taking care of things, helping their family, raising children, things of that nature start to come in play for a woman's age. Usually when women get to the age of 25, that's when the onset of really wanting to step into womanly duties start. And so the thing that is very interesting about that is if she's in the earth realm, she's going to be fed things that don't subject her to a homemaking environment, but they're more so flesh making environment. So the first thing is she will say, man, I really want to get married. And then she will look in the earth and see things that are on Instagram. So her first thing, what would be the first thought, Jay? What is the first one?
The first thing is that she's not rooted in God.
Mhm.
And because of this, she has lack of discernment. So she has lack of judgment in discerning who's a good man and who's not a good man, who's a man of God and who's a man that's just, he's just out in the world. Her lack of discernment and her lack of focusedness is so just everywhere, where she's not honed in or zoned in on the right man and the characteristics of a right man.
Yes, so she's distorted from day one. And because she's not rooted, she can think that a man is great just from looking at a picture of him, and already thinking, wow, he's going to be a great guy. Whereas everyone can look at this same man and see that he's not good. He's a cheater. He's a liar. He doesn't care to have something lasting, but she wants to just jump into that experience because that's the earth realm, instant gratification.
The second one is she thinks secular minded, again, what Georgia said. So she's drawn to a man by the way he looks. She's drawn to a man by her way of her lust and her appeal. So she's very She's very drawn to his outer appearance. She's drawn to, oh, he has abs. Oh, he works out. Oh, he drives a nice car. Oh, he has a house. Oh, he plays a sport. Oh, he's whatever it is. The list goes on and on. She's drawn to these outer characteristics that pulls her in.
So the lust of the eyes, and because of that lust of the eyes, she thinks to herself, how can she get a man? What does she need to do to pull him in? Well, immediately, because she's in distorted earth realm vision, she looks at how she can do this by presentation of her own body. So she starts to entice men by wearing clothes that are vulgar, wearing things that are too short, having her cleavage out everywhere she goes, feeling almost that she's half clothed, half naked, and there's not much mystery left to be seen, because she thinks that this is what will attract this man to her, and this is how they will be able to like each other and display these kind of pictures of what she's seeing in women such as Kim Kardashian, and women that she looks around at that she says, oh, this is how I can lure a man in. So that's what she speaks to.
Yeah. And the second point is that she doesn't take her heart into account. So she's giving herself away. She's giving herself pieces away to this man, sleeping with him, or, just kind of almost forcing herself to do things that she normally wouldn't do. If that's even drinking, something she would never do. And okay, I'll do this. So she's giving pieces away of her heart to this man, and it starts to lead her into this downward spiral that just continues to go more and more and more.
And so when she's giving her heart away, she's not concerned with her thought about what sleeping with this man looks like. She's so distorted by saying, okay, now I've given so much of myself away in how I dress, vulgar, and how I presented myself, that she's now willing and ready to also lead on by sleeping with this man without even thinking about how it's going to cost her emotionally, how she now, when you look at psychology, sex is something that God has designed only between a husband and wife for a reason, because it pulls away at things internally inside of you. It is the spirit meeting with another spirit. So if the spirits are not right and they're not aligned as God would have them to be aligned, what is happening is now you have things that are being twisted and bonded between two people that aren't meant to be bonded between two people. And then the next thing you notice is that these people are now led away in their mindsets. They're so captivated by someone that they're not supposed to be aligned with from the beginning. So it costs the woman emotionally when she decides to engage sexually with men in general, because she is now putting out her emotions to say they're his, when he can't even take care of her heart, because he doesn't even have the Savior in his own mind, in his own heart. So he can't take care of her heart. And so then we move on to how she becomes hyper emotional.
So with this characteristic, she's constantly unbalanced. And so you'll find a woman where, anxiety can creep in, things where she's overthinking, she's looking at herself more, she's judging herself even more, she's self-critical, she's all over the place. And that's because, again, she's opened her heart to something that she wasn't ready for. She awakened love at the wrong time. And so you will find symptoms of anxiety, you will find symptoms of her misjudging herself, and even being critical to others as well. Not having a sweet attitude, not being sweet and well nurtured to others, being very kind of aggressive, kind of maybe even lashing out. So she's like, I normally wouldn't do this. She's more aggressive in her nature.
Yes. And in that also, this begins the anxiety, like you said, where she's also checking his phone constantly. She's looking through to see, is she the only one? Because now her emotions have taken over, and she realizes she gave something away that was so precious that she can't get back. So now jealousy takes over, and she's constantly seeking to know, where does she stand? And it messes with her mind and her judgment of other men, and how she perceives herself, and how she perceives life, and how she's able to be ambitious. She might not do well in school anymore. She might not sleep well at night anymore. Her friendships begin to lack and suffer because she feels very much so alone because she gave these parts of herself away. All because the earth realm, and what the devil does is to steal, kill, and destroy. So that is what we conclude with the women of the earth realm and their mindset. So now we move on to the women that are rooted in God. A woman that is rooted in God, that is looking for courtship. Well, one thing that we said that was different from the first woman was we said dating. The other, now we are saying courtship. Courtship is something that is preparation. It is a time and a process for women to come in with a man alongside herself in saying, we are getting to know each other because we want to marry one another. We are not just seeking to know each other because it is fun and we think it's cute and we just want to date around and continue to date. We are looking into what God would have for us. How are we going to be about our kingdom assignment together as a couple for the kingdom of God in order to cause ourselves to do what God has for our lives? It's ultimately not just about the couple. It's about what God is going to do through the couple's life and what he will then use into the earth realm. So that is what the difference is between courtship and just dating to just date. So when a godly woman wants to find a godly man, she's first, like we said about the other woman, this is different. She's going to seek the mind of God. That's the difference. She's first going to pray for her husband. She's going to start to say, Lord, who is this man that you have for me? I pray that he has a good day. I pray, Lord, that you'll give him more of your anointing. I pray that you'll give him discernment. I pray that he will not be led away by the lust of the eyes. I pray that you will give him a righteous judgment. She's going to pray for her husband and seek the mind of God. She's evaluating what she's seen through life and knows her word based on what she's seen in other people's relationships and other people's marriages. She doesn't use them as just, oh, they have a cute marriage, or, oh, that person has a bad marriage. No, she utilizes the information she got from those relationships to say, what is it I need in my marriage?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
The second part is she will start to work on herself. So she will call herself out, and this is the big part, is seeing the areas of, and even this can stem from childhood. This can stem from areas of anger that she wrestled with. It can stem from insecurity and feeling unloved and not feeling confident and not feeling like she's enough. So she's going to start to look at those areas of her life, say, you know what, I've wrestled with this. And maybe this is an area that she starts to fast in. This is an area that she, starts to really be diligent, pray and talk to a pastor or even see a counselor in these different areas of her life that she knows it's not suiting her anymore. It's not allowing her to go further. It's pulling her back. So these are the ways that she's going to know herself more and realizing, okay, I want to be better, because if I'm going to be a better me, that's going to allow me to be a better wife, a better mother, to be a better servant.
Yes, and remembering that healing is very important from these old traumas, because many times people can think as a woman, oh, well, I'll just get over that. As I get married, it'll go away. When I have a child, it'll go away. Actually, it will get heightened. It will dominate you, and it will start to cause you to not be able to do the rightful will of God in your life, because you are so focused and fixated on these things that are now coming from under a rug that you may have put under and now are coming back up. So it's very important that she works on herself. And the other thing that is important is, you hear a lot of women and they will be very earth-minded and saying, oh, I want a man who works out. I want a man who has a house. I want a man who takes care of his car. Things of this nature that are just, little things. But the woman doesn't work out. She doesn't. She's never gone to the gym a day in her life. The woman wants a man who takes care of himself. She doesn't even wake up till 12 o'clock every day, finally trying to brush her teeth. A woman who wants to have a man that has good communication, and she hardly communicates with anyone. These are the things that women that are in the earth realm mind, they look for what another person can give them. But what the main question is, what can you attribute as well? What can you give this man? As you are both a team, you should also be able to take care of your temple and take care of your heart keep your heart right. Women also will say that she will want to make sure that her husband doesn't look at any sort of pornography. But I will tell you that in being in psychology, I've seen the high risk of women that are engaged in pornography and looking at these things, whether it be in movies, whether it be in ways of books and fiction and romance, literature. You might have to come into the understanding that it's not just about a man making sure his mind is right, but it is about a woman as well, making sure that she's taking care of her thoughts. Are they being brought under submission? Are they being pulled down? Are strongholds being pulled down to make sure that she's presentable as the woman that God has for her to be? And then this is the third point.
Yes, is that she will look at her future with this man. Does he love God more than her? So she will start to look at these characteristics of this man. Is he a leader?
Yes.
Is he a covering to me? Can he truly provide and know how to lead a family, know how to lead me? Does he know how to pray? Does he have a prayer life?
Yeah.
A lot of, again, what George talks about for the secular, I feel like the secular can kind of come in to the non-secular, where a woman will look into, okay, well, he's a good-looking guy. He goes to church. Well, that is amazing. But does he pray? Does he have his own relationship with God? Does he read the word? And I think that can be missing for a lot of Christian women, that they don't look into the depths of this man. And so being able to see the covering that he is, being able to see the responsibility. Does he have responsibility?
Can he be a good father?
Can he be a good father? So these are the main characteristics where she will evaluate what he has.
And this is very important. Does his kingdom assignment match something that she can submit to? There are so many women that I've spoke to, and this is the mindset as well that can be very distracting, is a man might be called to preach, and a woman will say, oh, no, I'm not called to do that, but she'll marry him anyway. And then you'll see the differences in how they are carrying themselves. This man is outgoing, loving towards people, and this woman is angry and resentful. And that is because she did not actually sit down to go, hold on, are we a team that we can work and do what God called us to do? Or is she just marrying him because she's like, oh man, I better do this, or I'm not going to find anyone else? So it's very important that your assignments do match each other. Yeah. And so the last part of the whole thing is, these are just a few things that we said she will do in order to attract a man. How will a godly woman attract a man? She won't chase after him because she knows her worth. So she knows she doesn't require herself to run around after him, putting her clothes half off in the house of God. She doesn't need to throw herself on him. She doesn't need to do any of that nature.
And she's secure in God with her head held high. She knows who she is. She knows that her worth comes from God. She knows that, and I think that's the first foremost, that it comes from God. She's not finding it in the guy. She's not finding it in this, in that. Yeah. No, my connection is with God, and I'm confident in who I am as a woman.
Yes. And she dresses with class and adorns herself through her attitude. Her attitude, she has a fragrance about her that is beautiful to be around, And like unto, even when I'm looking at Sister Melanie right now, she has a beautiful fragrance. Yeah. Even though I'm not next to her physically, I can tell that her fragrance is good. These are the things, these are the attitudes that are required, in how you attract a godly man.
And she's not caught up in drama. So she's not caught up in, trying to be involved in the friendship of, well, this girl said this and the gossip and, she's not caught up in all of that.
She doesn't have time.
She doesn't have time. Even for, what's going on in the world, the Kardashians and this and that, she can honestly care less if we can be serious, She has other things on her plate that are concrete and serious of what she finds of priority.
And she cares for others and not only herself. She's good with getting her hands dirty. She's not scared to get down and to help someone in need, and she's not too good for that position, and I think that's absolutely beautiful. And her femininity comes through in that way too.
Yeah, and she's nurturing. She's very nurturing. She's loving. She's tender, as Georgia talked about, the fragrance. She has this beautiful fragrance about her where she's calming. People want to go to her because she's peaceful. She has the peace of the spirit.
Yes, yeah. So those are a few things that we look at as to what happens psychologically when women are in the secular realm versus when they are in God's realm of his timing, and how they behave differently and how they operate differently in their mind, and what causes that difference to be showcased as to, is this godly or not godly?
True doctors of the mind. That was beautiful. I know I have learned a lot. I do have a few questions, but let's see if anybody in the crowd has any questions for the dynamic duo. Any questions from anybody? Okay, I guess they're shy.
But before you do that, I just want to say, wow, my girls, that was steaming hot.
It was. It really was. Question number 1. How do you maintain your morals and values in a time where, various things can dilute that out of you? Because as you say, we live in a world full of the Kardashians. So what would you say to someone who, in this case, trying to maintain their morals and values in a time such as this?
Well, I think it's first going to the biblical principles to draw out your routine. I think routine is what keeps you grounded. And so you first start from, I would say, looking at the woman, Proverbs 31 woman. She really emphasizes how you can keep your morals during this time by how she talks about how she knows what's going on in the world today. A lot of women don't even know what is going on in society today, in the sense of what's going on economically, within wars, within rumors of wars. What's history teaching and things like that. So she first is educated in what's going on. She also has the understanding of her home and taking care of her household. So she's very serious about, if this woman is keeping her morals at home, her life is serious, where she takes care of her laundry. She makes sure her house looks nice. She gets up in the morning and she rises and takes care of the things that she needs to take care of in her day. And then along with her spirit, she works out. And I do believe, when I say works out, I do believe mentally and physically. So she works things out that she's grappling with mentally, where she pours out her heart to God and says, Lord, I'm having a hard time with this today. I need your help in this today. And she's willing to ask friends, godly other women, for help in areas that she's weak in, So these keep her morals grounded by doing that. And then I think also going to God, first and foremost, playing an instrument, whether that be or worshiping God, will really cause the minstrel spirit in a woman to just exude itself when you have a heart of worship. So she does that, and then she works out. She works out physically, whether it be outdoors, where she's in her garden, whether she is working out in the gym, whether she's running, whatever she is doing this because in this movement, she is killing the flesh and igniting the spirit. So there's a struggle when you're working out where the flesh says, no, I don't want to keep going. And the spirit says, yes, continue. And it sharpens. Yeah. And so that is where I think her morals come in as well, in working out and banishing a lot of the flesh side of things. And then her eyes. She's mindful of what she's going to look at. So it means that she's not just going on the computer and boom, everything pops up. She already has thought of, what am I going on here to see today? And clearing out her Instagram. Instagram has a great way of hiding things that you don't want to see. She goes and she makes sure that she's very aware of what she's taking in. If she's going to watch a movie, she looks up the summary. What is this movie about? The trailer. What are they talking about? Before she just dives in and gets her mind to it.
I would also say, tagging along what Georgie said, is the routine. I believe that that's key in a woman having a routine of having, again, the prayer life and reading. I think, having the word, that is the key principle to keeping yourself morally right, to keeping yourself with integrity and making sure that you are not, aiming this way and that way, to have a vision, because without a vision, the people do perish. And I think as women, it's easy to compare ourselves to, the Kardashians or whoever it is on social media, or, oh, what do they have? And you kind of find yourself in this web of just scrolling endlessly, and you have no vision. And so I love what George said of you having an exact vision of, I'm going on here to do this. Or even, different businesses that you want to start, different endeavors that you want to start to reach into. I've always loved babies and I love things like that. So you know what? I'm going to see how I can, start helping moms, start helping single moms. Creating a vision, creating a platform for yourself that you're focused, that you're praying in diligently. I believe that keeps you from looking to the left and to the right.
Beautifully said. So I know you mentioned, because most times when we pray for our husbands, we say, God, we want this in a man, we want that in a man. And as women, we don't pray for ourselves. We don't pray to be that Proverbs 31 woman. And you mentioned that the devil attacks the mind. Mm-hmm. So what would you say to someone who is trying to get build a relationship with God, but that person is in a unequally yoked? So they're with a partner, and that partner, like you said, is not the person for them. But they feel to themselves, I need to get out of this. But the mind, again, they don't have the strength, the mental strength, the mental capacity to just come out of it. What would you say to someone like that?
Gosh, that is a deep question. I would say that they would have to, I think in that case, it has to do with the friendships in your environment. I think that friendships, to have a friendship where she, the woman's in a friendship and the friend is godly and she's a woman of God and she's able to speak into the girl's life, I think that that's going to be able to have great influence and great, just great power within the girl's life to be able to help her from that relationship and being able to speak to her. Because I think what happens when you are in an unequally yoked relationship is you become foggy. You can't see clearly, you're not thinking clearly. And so I think your senses almost get stripped away from you to see clear, to hear clear. And so I think if you have someone of wisdom around you that can impart something in you, I think that can be a good factor.
Yeah. And I think she has to know that he cannot do anything for her in the long run. She has to know that this is not going to last. Women do want something that is going to last. So if she realizes that in the end, she's constantly going to be in a position of grasping or running or grabbing at something, then she's going to realize she doesn't want that. She can't settle for that, So it's really the thought process of, can she survive this? And knowing that she can't. But it is hard when your mind is so engaged in thinking that this is the only person for you, Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you, guys. That was beautifully said. I don't think I could have done a better job. So we thank God for women like you, and we thank you for coming in today.